Hi, so Lecture 3 is an overview of strings. The reading material for you is Chapter 3 from the textbook Building Java Programs. Introduction to Parameters and Objects is the title of the chapter. And the section that we will be focusing on for this video is going to be 3.3, which is using objects. And the first object that we will be exploring is the string object. It seems strange that so far we've been using strings pretty much like any regular variable, but to think of strings as being objects and therefore created from the strings class. It is in fact that Java has got a string class under the hood, and just like any other object, strings also have attributes and they have methods. But we have been used to assigning values in this way. String s is equal to hello, and then using the concatenation operator to add two strings, or to add there to the existing string s to get a longer word. And when we print it out, we get hello there. But if we look under the hood, we can actually create a string, not just by saying string s is equal to hello, but by saying string s is equal to new string. When we use the keyword new, we know that we are getting ourselves space from the heap, and we are creating a new object. And the value that we're going to use to initialize this new object is hello. And if you just think back, let's try to make a connection with classes and objects. When you do things, when you do a creation like this, then the constructor for the string s is called, and the string s is actually constructed by getting space from the memory, and this value is getting initialized. So it's just something to keep in mind when we go into classes and objects. Now, what about strings having methods? Well, our string s, we could have done something like length s, and this is our usual regular primitive mode, but if a string is an object, then we should be able to do some string s dot and call a method from the string class. And that's exactly what we're able to do. We're able to call the length method on the object, string object s, and this should return to us the number of characters inside this string, and that's 5, and that's what it's going to print. You may read in 3.3 that strings are immutable. What this means is that if you invoke a method, let's say to lowercase on the object, then, and you try to system.out.println, you try to print s, then it's not going to, strangely enough, it's not going to convert the entire phrase to lowercase, so h is still going to be uppercase. So what's going on? What's going on is that because of this immutable stuff, what we need to do is we need to create a new string to be equal, to take the old string, perform the lowercase functionality on that, and assign the value to the new string. And now if we do system.out.println and we say new string, then it's going to print for us hello. So it's actually going to convert this uppercase to the lowercase. So that's just a little comment for you to keep in mind when you read and think, oh, what's the meaning of immutable? And please look at table 3.3, which has got all the list of wonderful and useful and powerful methods for us to use. Now I'd just like to take a view, a very realistic view of a string. A string is nothing but it's just a character array. So for example, if we have the string s being equal to hello, then we can actually view this as hello, 5 characters. And then, so we are going to range from 0 to 4, but the length of the string is actually equal to 5. So note that the length is actually one more than the last index. So that's the reason for us saying the index runs from 0 to n-1, so in this case runs from 0 to 4, whereas the length is actually 5. And if we try to access something at position 5, then that character is no longer, it's just not there, and therefore this will give us a runtime error. So this is something that we need to keep in mind when manipulating and doing extraction and access with strings. So let's look at this example here. I've got a string s equal to hello there, and we have got the length of the string equal to 11. And if I say range from 0 to index less than length, then it's going to go from 0 to 10, which is exactly what we want, because h is at 0, e is at 10, and it will print out this phrase for us. If you'd like to extract the word hello, then h is at 0, e is at 1, l is at 2, the second l is at 3, and this is at 4. So I should have said, can you extract from me from 0 to 4? Because that's what the index position, that's what makes sense. But I'm going to have to give this one extra for the substring method so that it can stop 1 before 5 and therefore stop at 4, right? So then this is the way the substring method works, and therefore we just need to be a little careful. Let's take another example here from our Replit. And we are trying to extract information from this string. And if we can find the word account balance, then we know that what follows is the balance, and we would like to print that balance. Now note here that I have created some supporting variables. Balance is actually going to store this string, and it's initialized to the empty string. And the search phrase that I'm looking for is account balance. Now, I have also got a variable called length, and this length is going to store the length of this search phrase, and you'll see in a minute why. Position is the position of where I actually find. Position is where I find the search phrase account balance in my string. So I'm trying to look for account balance. This is the search phrase. I'm trying to search for it in this string s. Position will give me the position where it starts. If it exists, position where it starts, and then that's going to be equal to 0. If it does not find the search phrase, then that position is going to be equal to -1. If indexOf method returns -1, that it means the text is not found, and then it should print that. But if it finds it, then what I need to do is I actually need to go here. I need to go here. I need to extract from here. If we start counting all of these, you will see that this stops at, this is at position 14. And what I would like it to do is extract from position 15 onwards, all the way to the end of the string, which is at position 22. So a little bit of this formulation here, and what this means is, if you find the string, then we have found it, it's at position 0, then skip all the way to 15. How to skip all the way to 15 is to skip the length of the search phrase. And we know the length of the search phrase was equal to 15. So it's going to go from 0 to 14. So the length is equal to 15. And it's going to go from 0 plus 15, and that gives us 15, positions us exactly where we want it to, which is the beginning, which is the $. And how many characters do we want to extract, or where do we want this extraction to stop? We want it to stop at s.length, right? And we know that s.length from 0 to 22, it's going to be equal to 23. And that's exactly how the substring method works, because it stops 1 before 23, and that's 22. And therefore, it will extract the string for us from 15 to 22, which is exactly the $. Amount that we're looking for. And that's what gets printed. So I have run this program here just to save time, and it correctly says balance is, because that's what I'm outputting. Balance is balance. And this string balance is the substring from position 15 to 22, and that's exactly what gets printed here.